Good evening, I'm Dana Tyler. A startling increase in the number of weapons students are getting inside schools. Weeks after a teenager was killed in a classroom, the City Council is pressing the NYPD for solutions. Same with CBS 2's Marcia Kramer, who reports from today's hearing.
We have seen an increase in weapons, and we certainly acknowledge that.
Weapons in New York City schools have always been a concern, but NYPD Assistant Chief Brian Conroy's City Council testimony taking on added significance after two students were stabbed, one fatally, at the Urban Assembly School for Wildlife Conservation in the Bronx. Conroy forced to admit that the school year has seen a dramatic 35% increase in the number of weapons seized by safety officers, 746 from July 1st to November 12th compared to 552 for the same period last year. Does that increase of a third concern you at all?
We obviously take the recovery of weapons seriously.
Conroy also admitting that not all weapon seizures resulted in students being arrested. Box cutters, for instance. But if they're knives and box cutters, nothing happens to them, you don't bring charges, they're not arrested?
Well, it would depend on the type of knife.
Although I had a lot of questions for Conroy, Bronx Councilman James Vaca did too. He was furious that complaints from parents and students that the Urban Assembly School was unsafe were ignored, at least before the stabbing.
Parents and the students in this building were crying out for help based on the surveys they filled out, and no one listened.
I tried to ask Chief Conroy about it, but Department of Education officials were having none of it. One more question. Councilman Vaca was concerned, sir. Really? You're going to run away from us? You're really running away? Councilman Vaca was concerned about the question. Councilman Vaca was concerned about what happened at Wildlife and the fact that some of the complaints of the teachers
Marcia,
and
we
students,
just answered your questions. If you have any follow-ups, please let me know. Thank you.
You did not answer the question. What's the problem with responding to that, sir? Why was the complaints of students and parents at Wildlife not taken into consideration?
The ball was dropped in the case of the Wildlife Conservation School, and I wonder if the ball is being dropped elsewhere.
Well, metal detectors were wheeled into the Urban Assembly School for Wildlife Conservation the day after the stabbings. Councilman Vaca says the city should be more proactive, not reactive. Dana.
Marcia, thank you very much for that.